Committee will please come to order. Clerk will take the silent roll. Minutes are in your packets. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, take your motion, please.
Approve the minutes?
Yes, please.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I approve the minutes from the Sunday, October 15th meeting, as presented.
Question four is on the gentleman's motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have to declare the motion adopted. Next item on the agenda, economic development in Brooke, Hancock, Marshall, Ohio, and Wetzel counties. First up, we have Marv 6, Business Development Corporation, Hancock and Brooke County. It's all yours.
Thank you. I know everybody is in a hurry to get out of here. So I'm going to be brief as possible and give you as much information as I possibly can in a short period of time. I was telling the gentleman earlier that you're going to be like horses going back to the barn after a tour out there all day long. You're going to have your ears pinned back and heading out the door. So I would agree. As he said, I'm Marvin 6, Executive Director of Business Development Corporation of Northern Panhandle, excuse me. And that's Brooke and Hancock County. If any of you are familiar with Brooke and Hancock counties, they're the two smallest counties in the state. There's a total of 181 square miles in both counties and a population of 52,000 people. So it's not big, not real populated, but we benefit from having resources that are legacy resources from the steel and pottery and ceramics and coal industry. When the Business Development Corporation was formed in 1993, we consolidated about 8 or 10 different small EDAs. And these EDAs consist of maybe 2 or 3 people. They weren't accomplishing very much, but we felt they had to get more things done in a shorter period of time. And in 2008, we did a change of the organization. So we anticipated what was going to be happening over the next 20 years. In 2010, we put together a master plan funded by the US EDA. The plan specifies sites and also industries that we should be focusing on. We have been following that plan to a T since we instituted it in 2011. And if I would recommend anything for an EDA to do is to put together a plan for their site, for their county, for their region, whatever is necessary, and follow that plan to a T. It works. Excuse me. In 2012, we were able to start acquiring some properties that were in that plan. Now, the reason I'm giving you this background information is very important to get us to the present day of what's going on. One of the first sites we purchased was an old pottery in Chester. This is called TS&T. Bad site. We tore it down, cleaned it up, and we worked the US EPA, Washington DEP, and the county commissioners. Beyond that, in 2012, we bought another site in Beach Bottom. It was also a site that was indicated on our plan we need to focus on. We worked with a private equity firm to get that site. Now, as background, that'll give you some idea of why we are where we're at today with the sites we have in developing. I think most of you are familiar with the Pure Watercraft project in Beach Bottom. We were able to take that building, aged about 850,000 square feet on 600 acres, and convert it into an industrial park, which has occupancies of a large pipe company, a ceramics company, a coil coating company, Jupiter Aluminum, and also we're putting in Pure Watercraft. Now let's go back up into Chester where the TST site is, we were able to secure funding from Washington EDA. We used US EPA for cleanup, the county commission for acquisition. And then we worked with the company out of Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, related to gas and oil. And they brought 100 guys into that site, small little 8-acre site, and put about $1 million of our own investment into the property. So that's just a little project, went from 8 acres demolition all the way up to occupancy with 100 employees in it. Now let's get back down to Fallsview. We were able to secure a property from the state and work with the Washington EDA, US EPA, West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection, and we cleaned up the site and sold it to a company. And I think most of you have heard of this, Empire Diversified, that is Fallsview, and they have a large operation in Fallsview for port activity. That port activity will utilize the river and barge access and transloading facilities for any types of goods or product coming up the river. Excuse me. Now I'll move forward even to a larger site that was the former Weird Steel site in Weirton. If you remember, Weird Steel went away, the large site, excess property, contaminated, didn't have any major reuse, had bad old structures on them. We worked with Frontier Group Properties, the Frontier Group out of Buffalo, New York. They acquired the property, and we've been able to work with them closely along with the US EPA, West Virginia DEP, West Virginia Economic Development Authority, West Virginia Department of Economic Development, and we're able to attract Form Energy. I'm sure all of you are familiar with that. Currently, they're constructing the building, bringing it out of the ground. They have about, I would say 40 or 50 people working there right now, and it's anticipated they'll have 750 people working on the site. Now that's the general background of the activities we have in Brooke and Hancock County. I didn't go into all the details of what we have, which are a little commercial site, a development on Three Springs to bring a commercial facility, retail and housing in it. But I want to go back and focus on our relationship with these other agencies. We were able to, if you take a look at the chart, I think it's on the third item chart, you can see how much money we were able to bring in private and public investment. We used public dollars to attract private industry, and we've been able to attract $417 million of public money, which leveraged $630 million private money. I think if I don't know what that ratio is, maybe 1.2 to 1. But if all EDAs could do that, they would be very successful in the projects that they have. On the next page, about the fourth page, I believe, you'll see the grants and loans and the BDC's contributions. In Brooke County, we were able to secure grants and loans of $72 million. Hancock County, we were able to get grants and loans of $323 million. And then regionally, that's in areas outside of the cities we have, about $21 million. And the companies that I have listed on there are companies that were not in the original footprint of the companies, which are about 17. I'm talking about Ergon, Eagle Manufacturing, Hummerlock, companies like that, that were not impacted by our presence of pulling money in. These are all new companies who established projects that they have to expand and add new businesses. On the regional side, I think you need to look at the housing. housing is a major issue that we have with companies coming in. And that's the lowest number we'll be able to attract in grants or loans. And we are looking at some type of a method or process to secure funds, even though that's not our main item to do. We could work with some agency or some other governmental entity to provide housing. The difficulty we're running into is the contractors do not want to put themselves at risk. They just say it's too risky, too much liability. So we need to bridge that gap. And the reason I bring that up is we were able to find monies to bridge that gap for cleanup on industrial sites that are contaminated. Private companies didn't want to come in and take on a liability that could last forever, and they never get their money back after the project is done. So we were able to secure those funds to do that type of a project on the environmental side, working with the various agencies. We need to do the same thing with the support of the legislature on the housing side. I noticed there was a bill passed recently to secure some funds for that, but I think it needs to be expanded so that the contractors don't feel as much risk when they go into the project and not have any risk involved with the locals and the individuals. The last page of the chart I handed out, it shows private investment by project, by municipality, and by county. It'll detail every item in there as to what projects receive some types of monies, public monies. If you take a look at the Frontier Group, that represents the Form Energy site. That site is a major project for the city where it has been a lifesaver for the community. I'm anticipating they'll be finished up in 2026 on the main building, but they're planning on having production, batteries going out the door, product going out the door, November of 24. And talked to the CEO the other day, and he just had a child about 9 months ago. And he said he'd like to spend more time with his kid. And I told him, well, this is your Form Energy project in Weirton, is your second child. Since you started this project about 9 months ago, and if it comes up to fruition in November, you have something being produced coming out the door. That's his baby. That's his new one. He's very proud of it. And I think the people of Weirton can be proud of that process. And I think the people of Weirton and Brooke and Hancock County can be proud to be represented by individuals like you who have supported the West Virginia Department of Economic Development and West Virginia DEP. Those two agencies have been very, very instrumental in the projects we have to the state. I was as quick as I could be without getting too wordy.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
Questions for our presenter?
Elliot?
Gentleman from Brooke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Six, for being here today, and to the committee, as you can tell by his statements, Marvin has done tremendous work for the entire Brooke and Hancock communities for many years, and we're gonna miss you after you retire here soon. I'm excited to see what the next chapter brings, but just to touch on a couple of things. I mean, you talked about the form investment, the Empire investment, Follinsby. There's also the Florida Follinsby and Pure Water, Craft Fountain, Beach Water. My hand got a little tired from writing all these great things you guys have been doing, but can you talk a little bit, just touch on it briefly, but the progress of the form? You said it's going pretty good, and how the community is truly just becoming very upbeat about the investment and seeing these companies coming back to it.
Which, do I go on each one of them or?
Just for form, and then
Form.
I'll ask you about.
The Form project has put a shot in the arm of somebody who basically got punched in the belly a few years ago. If you ever got in a fight, any of you guys got in a fight, and you got the wind knocked out of it in some type of contact, or somebody hit you in the belly and you knocked the wind out of you, you just couldn't do anything. You were just paralyzed. Well, that's what happened to when Weird Steel went down. With the process that we've gone through and the monies we have coming in, that has revived, and now those individuals are starting to recover from that punch in the belly. It's taken many, many years to do that. Emotionally, they are very happy that this is going on. Now they can take a deep breath and start deciding and participate in the activities of development, both on the commercial and the retail side in the town.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's already been restaurants opening in the community, so that downstream revenue or businesses that we talked about are definitely coming. And then, at Beach Bottom site with, Pure and the as well. If you could touch on how we've already secured more investment for the remaining part of that plan to invest, bring another business in hopefully sooner.
Yes, we've had, of the 850,000 square foot building, 2/3 of it being occupied have been refurbished, redone, electrical, concrete, roof, major improvements to the site through the US EDA grants. The balance third, we have received a US EDA grant. We're going to start renovating it. And we have about 150 acres north of the site additional. And right now we're working with 3 companies, international companies, that are looking at the site once we get the renovations done. And also the 150 acres that are in it, north of the site can be developed. As a side note to that, the little town of Beach Bottom is about 350, 400 people, not very large. They had a community playground pretty run down. They had a grand opening of a new playground, about $500,000 improvements to the playground. And it was all from the B&O tax from Jupiter Aluminum and Tenaris pipelines. So that those monies trickle down into the local level and supply resources for the communities to improve the lifestyle within the community.
Thank you.
Further questions? If not, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Have a safe trip home.
Next, we have Josh Jefferson, Regional Economic Development Partnership. Josh?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. Make sure my slide's working here. I'm glad to share the stage with Mark. He's a great partner. I appreciate all the hard work he puts in. He's been great, and when we retire, we're going to miss that experience, Mark. That's for sure. So we appreciate that. Great partner.
Love the young guys.
I don't know about that. Thank everybody for the time today, and I appreciate Mr. Chairman, the time to spend with the Economic Development Committee. I will say I had the opportunity to present to the Finance Committee yesterday. So there's, I think, 11 members of crossover here. So you're going to hear some of the same things. I'll try to they change it up a little bit, but happy to have this. I'm going to deliver this message. It's an important message we feel like to deliver. So we're excited to deliver it again. So I'm Josh Jefferson. I'm with the Regional Economic Development Partnership, and we're fortunate to be meeting in an area right now that's kind of a reflection of the rest of the state of West Virginia. And that's that there's momentum, there's excitement, and there are projects going around the state, and we're excited about that. I'm also very fortunate to kind of have a dual purpose here. One is to give a little bit of a progress update on where our region is, our 3 counties. But more importantly is really to thank you for your leadership and the energy you guys have offered us as local economic development organizations, but as you've driven the state to the success that we've seen here recently. So as the president of the organization of the Regional Economic Development Partnership, or RED, if you've heard that name, that's who we are. We're a regional organization, but I said yesterday, the mantra for us is statewide success. I think that's the way it should be across the state of West Virginia. We want to see everybody succeed. And there's not a day in our office that doesn't go by that we talk about rising tides, lift all ships. I know we've talked about that. I know you guys have heard that. But as an organization, we celebrate statewide success. We explore multi-regional partnerships, and we promote total collaboration. It doesn't matter what size, large, small, we promote total collaboration because we feel like that's the way that West Virginia wins. And when West Virginia wins, we all win. That's how we feel. So I got a couple slides to kind of run through. And, you know, when we talk about a lot of the excitement going around West Virginia, and I showed this slide yesterday, you know, it's exciting for Jackson County and Mason County and Hancock County and Brooke County and Marshall County. You know, we need to see wins in Boone County and McDowell County. We want to see everything win. That's what we need. That's what we all need to see West Virginia grow. So we, as organizations that are maybe regional organizations, we need to celebrate every win that we get. And we need to thank the leadership that provides those wins. So, because when that does, it transitions into momentum around the state of West Virginia, momentum in the regions that we represent. So highlight a few projects that are in our area right now. This is the streetscape. And for all those that drove downtown yesterday and saw what's going on in Wheeling, that's a lot of construction and it's a lot of excitement because it is really a transitional time for us. It's new infrastructure going on. It's new roads that are being put in, new walkways. We've got a lot of great partners in downtown Wheeling, major employers, West Banco, the health plan, that Williams Lee, ORIC, that are going to benefit from this plan and your leadership and the governor's leadership. It's a $32 million project. You probably saw the new parking garage going up. There's a lot of housing in downtown going up right now, apartment complexes, things like that. So we're excited about it. It's a building the future for a city that has a lot of history in West Virginia. I think some of you probably got to see some leadership at WVU Medicine yesterday. WVU Medicine's been a tremendous partner in our 3 counties and throughout the state of West Virginia. They're the largest employer in the state of West Virginia. They're the largest employer in this county that we sit in today. They're the 3rd largest employer in Marshall County. They're the 4th largest employer in Wetzel County. And their investment in a multi-regional cancer center is going to be transitional for the state of West Virginia. It's going to bring people in to get state-of-the-art treatment in West Virginia, from Pennsylvania, from Ohio, from hopefully all over the country. And it's going to transition what it looks like in downtown Wheeling. So we're really excited about that. And again, it's healthcare for West Virginians. And that's what we really want to focus on as well. So we talk a lot about collaboration across the board, and one of the things that we're really excited about is the most recent one that we've had with Marshall University. We're big fans of what Marshall University and President Brad Smith are doing. President Smith's a visionary. I know that the legislature have worked with him. They've gone across the country to talk about West Virginia, about bringing businesses here. We feel like, how can we hitch our wagon to that star and help him grow what he needs to do in West Virginia? They've got a great aviation program. They've got a great West Virginia is pushing aerospace right now. Our area has an opportunity. We have an airport in the Wheeling and Hyde County Airport that's been pretty much underutilized for a long time. Our county commission's come along and said, we want to focus on that. So our first stop was, we don't know much about aerospace. We don't know much about aviation, where our partners at Marshall do. And they opened their doors. President Smith was fantastic and said, let's talk. So now we've got a pilot program that's going to be taking off in 2024. By the way, there's a lot of puns with airports on the radar, taking off. You can go all day, but it's really great. But this was an announcement that was made out on airport. There's 1,000 acres up in that airport, 1,000 acres of property. So we're excited about that, and it actually shares with Brooke County. So we'd be working with our partners in Brooke County, and we've got great airports around the state of West Virginia. Yeager, Tracy Miller, they're all fantastic people to work with, and they've all been very supportive of seeing this airport do well, and we want to see that happen. So aerospace is a big part of what West Virginia is doing. We want to be part of that, and we thank Marshall for that, and we're excited that West Virginia is going to have an opportunity to partner there. So I'll talk a little bit about major projects. Marvin mentioned you have 3 international projects, right, buddy? That's what he. So we've had some really great interest from international projects, and I was thinking about the interest from international companies that West Virginia is seeing. West Virginia doesn't, these international companies don't know what county it is. They come in, they want to be in North America. They want to be in the United States. We need to be we promote West Virginia as a whole. We've been lucky to get 2 companies that have located in the northern part of the state, but they need to be in West Virginia. TCL and ADO are an Indian company and a Turkish company respectively. They're going to be $150 million for TCL. ADO is about a $10 million company that's locating in the northern panhandle. But the great thing about TCL was it was announced at the State of the State in January. We actually did a dual announcement in Charleston and in Marshall County where the site is, which is, I think, a great model, because that project doesn't happen without the statewide collaboration that we got from our federal, state, county partners. So we like the idea of making an announcement in Charleston and up where the site is, because it needed to be said around the state that this is an opportunity for the state of West Virginia to grow. So we're super excited. We're seeing more of that. Obviously, Marv alluded to that. So we're seeing a lot of international interest. So it's important that we work together to build that, build those relationships. all the regions in our area, we're unique, we're kind of a microcosm of the state. We have 3 counties. Every county has a little bit of a different need. Wetzel County is one of our most rural counties in our region. Well, they came to us and said, we need broadband. Well, we work very closely with our federal partners, Senator Capito, Senator Manchin, our USDA partners, and then CityNet and our county commissioners stepped up and said, let's put broadband in. So 87 miles of broadband are going to be put in Wetzel County. It was really across the state a need. When COVID hit, we saw a lot of kids had to go to certain destinations to get Wi-Fi. We saw telehealth was a challenge. So this is something that we're doing, we're excited about, that's going to provide 1,400 homes and businesses with broadband and direct access to the internet. So we're super excited about that. But again, it's just a microcosm of the state. Every county, every region is a little different. Try to find out what your niche is, where you might be able to help. And this is where we were excited to kind of step in and be a partner. This is our last, our most recent, I should say, announcement we made just about a week ago. This project came about because of a gentleman in our office who's our business development manager, great guy, a lot of energy, was on a family vacation and connected with these guys right outside of Baltimore, Maryland. They're all former police officers. They have a place called Gumtree. It's a destination tourism. This is a tourism committee as well. People come from all over the place in that area to go here and shoot guns. They do training, they do professional training, they do recreational shooting. These guys were in the process of looking to expand their operation. Jason in our office went out there and said, this is the place to be. West Virginia, they would love West Virginia. They came here, we got them to come visit. We've had them introduced to law enforcement, introduced to our state officials, our state partners, our county partners. And on the way back to their homes in Baltimore, the governor of West Virginia called them and said, we want to see you here. And that's what landed at here. And this is a quote. It's actually my quote, but the quote pretty much is just highlighting the effect of partnerships, beginning them, building them, and maintaining them. That's our focus, and that's what we want to do because that's what the success of any project is, and it's vital for us as a whole to really push for all of West Virginia to succeed. So that's really our focus. Mark mentioned this, and I think at the end of the day, all of our goals is to see more people in West Virginia. And I mentioned this yesterday, and I know the legislative body's really working hard and has done a great job with the Bill District legislation. How do we get people to live here? We see it. I know our friends of Mason County see it. I know our friends of Jackson County see it. I know that it's a challenge across the state, and we want to see more people living here. It's a great place to live. We know that. We need to let other people know that. We need them to be here. So the Bill District was a great legislative law that was passed, and we were excited about that. And we see these headlines, and we kind of go through them on a regular basis, but we don't really see them as challenges as we see them as opportunities. So like Mark said, our organization is very unique. We're in the process right now of working. Economic development, you look at it as a private sector kind of focus, and when you look at the housing, we feel as economic development organizations around the state now, it might be something that we need to get involved in because we need to do it for our major employers. When you talk to W Medicine, you talk to West Banco, you talk to Nucor, they're going to say we need housing. And I know obviously Mason County is working on now. They see the opportunities and the challenges. So we're having conversations now. What can RED do to fill a gap, to play a role in getting people to live in West Virginia? So we're actively doing that right now in the Bill District that our legislative body passes and a compliment to that. So we appreciate that. So the great thing about the Bill District is it's around the state. Again, we're hoping that if we find success in doing these building projects, we're hoping that it can be a pilot across the state of West Virginia. We can get some things done. We can really see the population growth in West Virginia. And at the end of the day, our goal, we think about 2030. So when 2030, when they do the next census, I want that story to be a lot different. I want to see, I'm sure we all in this room want to see it a lot different. We want to see people moving here, a destination, and we're on the right track. And it's a lot because of the leadership our legislative body is offering. So with that, I'm finished. I hope it was a little bit different than what I did yesterday, but I appreciate your time, and we really appreciate you coming to this part of the state, and we look forward to coming to your parts of the state.
Questions of our presenter? Gentleman from Brook.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for being here today. First, I'd like to say thank you to Red as a whole for helping keep the nailers in Wheeling. I'm sure most of my colleagues enjoyed that experience the other day.
I appreciate that.
And you touched on it with the airport, with West Liberty, all the acres out there.
Yeah.
How do you think that could help expand just what we're doing on that area?
So I think that it's a great question. I appreciate it. I think at the end of the day, this is gonna put our airport and our region on the radar. Go back to the puns that we're gonna use, right? So at the end of the day, it'll put us on the radar. And I think the key for us is the partnerships and collaboration. We just had our Economic Outlook Conference in Wheeling. And what we did was we brought in leadership from Jaeger, leadership Tracy Miller. We brought in leadership from around the state, and it's really working closely with our partners at the Department of Economic Development to say, how do we go out and work with you to bring companies here in aviation? Again, I think a key for us is, one, knowing what we don't know. We don't know a lot about aviation, but what we do know is a lot of people that can help us learn about aviation. So it's partnering with them is the number one key. And then the second key is, economic development is incredibly competitive. It's incredibly competitive. It's international, but it's incredibly competitive. But I think key for organizations like ours that are regional or smaller organizations that are made by county is knowing who's on your team. The state of West Virginia is a team. So if we go out there together and say, hey, look, right now in our region, we don't have large tracts of land. Our 3 counties don't have large tracts. These guys do. These guys have large tracts. And so if we get an inquiry, we're going to say, look, Marv, we need you to talk to Marv. We need you to talk to them. So that's the goal, is just the collaboration. I mean, we say that with all sincerity and say, look, we need to all grow. We need to all work together. And if there's wins across the state, we should all be celebrating them. And we say that all the time.
Absolutely. I can say having a split county district with these two at the helm has been tremendous. Being in the legislature, I think tremendous staff, veteran leadership, like you two guys.
Appreciate that.
Helping us. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Appreciate it.
Further questions of our presenter? Gentleman from Webster.
Nicholas.
Nick.
First off,
Thank
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Josh, for being here and presenting. Looks like you're doing some amazing things. Just out of curiosity, and I'm not too familiar with the road, so I think it was 250 when I came in.
Probably.
Yeah, I looked into my left and it's still Ohio Valley Medical Center building.
Yep, that's
Is it
exactly right.
abandoned now? What's the status of that building?
That's
Do you guys
it.
have any plans on what's gonna happen there?
You're ahead of the game. That's exactly where the regional cancer center is going.
Oh,
That whole center's coming down, and that's where the WVU Regional Cancer Center is going.
what's the timeline look for that?
I think destruction should be in the process. I think there's a crane there now. I think they hope to be under construction next year. I mean, the demolition and then construction. I'm not sure about operations. I'd say within the next 2 years.
Okay, since you mentioned demolition, I know you talked a little bit about housing. Opportunities. So you guys been able to work with the city of Wheeling any on just demolition of dilapidated properties, and what's that relationship look like in securing funding?
So the city of Wheeling's been fantastic. They've been really a leader in getting a lot of downtown housing. So we've had a couple developers come in, acquire buildings, retrofit them to be housing. For one project that's still underway, it's close to where that new parking garage is going. We've also had new construction going. Load of companies out of Ohio has come in. They've done a significant amount of investment in downtown housing. So those are rental houses. And I can tell you, our partners in Marshall County, the County Commission of Marshall County actually just completed a housing study. And while the full, findings haven't been released yet, essentially what they've said is, from the initial kind of summary, is housing's needed across the board, low income housing, medium income housing, it's across the board and then need. So, but the city of Wheeling, and that's one of the great things, our city has been a fantastic partner in getting some of that done.
Good, I like to hear that, because it is important just for the aspect of getting this housing for all these corporations that are coming in.
Absolutely.
Just to beautify your community, that's as well.
Right.
There's a lot of it out there. There's a need across the state.
You're right. Yeah.
I'd love to see it here.
Yeah, the dilapidated housing is a great point. That's one of the things that I think a lot of our municipalities are working on to address that. And that's an issue that I think everybody in West Virginia can see.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh. We love it, Chairman.
Senator from Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Josh, thanks for the energy. I appreciate the presentation. I might get you off guard with this question, but I'm curious, can you elaborate on the structure of your all's organization?
Sure.
The kind of the private, the
Yeah.
public relationship. We talk about, a lot of us have county
Right.
representatives. A lot of us have county commission appointed representatives. We obviously have a state appointed group. But I don't think, and maybe you can correct me, I don't think there's very many groups like yours in our state. Can you kind of elaborate what your pros?
Yeah.
I don't want to expose your cons, but maybe things that you're working on.
Yeah, that's a
Can you
great
kind of elaborate that?
Absolutely. That's a great question. I appreciate that. So our company is an older company. We can track our really dates back to the 1920s. So we're an established organization. We've gone through a couple reiterations, but we started out as the Ohio Valley Industrial and Business Development Corporation. We're a private nonprofit organization. So we're a private nonprofit. And we represent 3 counties, but what that allows us to do really is it allows us to collaborate with public and private sectors. So that's one of the things that we really have been able to kind of leverage, and I'll use Marv's words. I mean, we've been really able to leverage relationships to generate opportunity for the 3 regions that we represent. And we have a board of directors. Our board of directors is significant. It's 50 people, 15, but it's important that it's 50. I think our board of directors is the most important thing because it represents public, private sector across the regions that we represent. So it's great to have that from that standpoint, to have their input. And it allows us, we manage property, we own property, we market property, but the goal is really for us to leverage that private sector to come in and make those investments to see those things happen and knock down the barriers, which Red is able to do. It does allow us to do things like acquire the Wheeling Nailers. When we saw that, our board of directors had the vision to say, look, the Wheeling Nailers were the largest and they're the largest, I guess, occupant of West Banco Arena. Okay, so they're the most important tenant for West Banco Arena. When they were thinking of moving, our organization's board of directors said, we need to look at this as an economic development. If they leave West Banco Arena, we lose our biggest tenant. So we decided to move forward, acquire the Wheeling Nailers. And then we are a unique organization in the fact that we own and manage property. We own a professional hockey team. We're also going to own broadband in Wetzel County. So it's a very broad spectrum from an organization standpoint. But I might elaborate. I might take an opportunity here to say how important it is, because you're right, that's a great point. I mean, at the end of the day, there's organizations around the state of West Virginia and Welch and Ward County that are smaller. They need just as much support as organizations like ours. And I think that's where we need to collaborate. Like our organization needs to leverage and work with organizations like that, say, how can we help? And at the end of the day, we're all looking to be regional. We want to be regional, but we need to really extend a hand and say, how can we help our other partners, maybe that are a little smaller? I mean, Wetzel County, if it was just Wetzel County, would struggle. So when Wetzel County, and candidly, their county commissioner, Don Mason was the county commissioner at that time, he was a visionary. He really saw the importance of working as a region. And he had a lot of people that were detracting with him that said, no, we need to be our own county organization. But at the end of the day, working together, we understand that they have like I said, there's specific things that they need. So there's things that we have to focus on, and we work very closely with their leadership to address those. It's not like we only focus in one area. That's why we love the fact that there's broadband in Wetzel County. I mean, to answer your question, it does allow us, our structure allows us to do things to leverage private investment to make things happen in our part of the state. And we want to see that happen around the state. That answers your question.
Well, my ask to you over the next, 60 days as we enter a new session, if there are things that we can think about with changes in state code on unique partnerships like yours.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we are, our State Department of Commerce chases big employers, but it's really neat to see very small investments too on lists that you guys brag about. And I think all of us would love those small investments to continue. And it's folks like you guys who continue to push those small investments as well. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we will definitely be visible. The legislature's always been a great partner for us. We've always had a great relationship with the development office. We actually, they're representative for us. These 6 counties, they actually work out of our office. So we offer them space in our office because they're such great partners. But we meet regionally quarterly with Marv and Eric Peters in Tyler County. So we really try to collaborate and find out how we can work together to see the whole state grow.
Thanks. Thank you.
Further questions or a presenter? Gentleman from Morgan.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, not a question as much as an observation. But I would start this way and say, I'm enough of a fossil now to remember that when I started my political career, the largest private employer in the state of West Virginia was Weird Steel. It was the biggest, over 10,000 employees. And to have this community, this area, go through what it's gone through over the course of the last 30 years and reinvent itself in many ways, I think speaks volumes about the determination and the grit of the people who are here, including the presenters we've heard from today, Mr. Chairman. And so I just want to say I congratulate you for all that you managed to do. I know it's been in many ways a long, hard road. And I'll say this, I think you'll find a ready and willing partners, following up on the comments by the senator from Harrison County, in the legislature, a ready and willing partner to initiatives that will help you advance the ball here in the Northern Panhandle.
Please.
I'd like to give you some background on the Weird Steel. When that went down, I told you like a punch in the belly. We were able to secure a $5,000 grant after a 2010 study. We were able to secure a $5,000 grant from the Benetton Foundation. That's all we had to work from, $5,000. That enabled us to purchase the TS&T site by leveraging monies to the US EDA, US EPA, and Western Economic Development Authority. Fast forward, all the other sites I mentioned in Fallsby, Beach Bottom, and Chester, plus a few other small ones. We started off with a little bit of money for some private investment, private equity firm. To give you some idea, the private equity firm to help us buy Beach Bottom gave us $200,000 to buy the property for them at an auction. So they knew we could provide value to their development, to what they wanted to do. Subsequently, we bought that private equity firm out. After 7 years, they exited. We were able to buy them out and own the property now. So you can start off with very small amounts of money, but you have to find the mechanism in which you can leverage it. The West Virginia legislature has the ability to put money in the proper places for that type of leveraging. The West Virginia groups usually come in the back end. They're the ones that finish off and make the deal happen. The money that we work with is on the front end, and we accumulate that over a period of time, or we get some additional money and leverage it so that the West Virginia Department of Economic Development can come in and put the cap on put the icing on the cake and finish the deal. So that, as far as leveraging, you individuals play an important role in providing the funding mechanism for those agencies within the state.
Further questions of either presenter? If not, under announcements, I'd like to recognize Mark Neslin, who represents Greenbrier. Mark has an announcement to make.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Joint Committee. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. You know, we have been working with your committee and the rest of the legislature now for about 2 years since we made the announcement of moving into South Charleston for our production. During that period of time since we took possession of the building back in August, we have put about $20 million worth of cabs and chassis through there that are part of our commercial line of all electric purpose-built vehicles that we have been preparing for the school bus production. So in 29 days, the first 4 manufactured school buses in South Charleston will emerge from the building on December the 13th. And those 4 Type A Nano B school buses will be going to 4 school districts in the state of West Virginia. It's an exciting time. It's a monumental task to get to the production of the first group of buses coming out of the facility. And we're only successful because of the support of the people in this room and in the legislature and in the administration here in West Virginia. We invite you all to attend. It happens to be the day after your interims, in December. So if you are still, around in Charleston, we would love to have you at 10 a.m. At our production facility as we recognize the first of those vehicles coming out. And then the production on the large Type D beast moves into, serious production following those nano beasts, with all of theirs. So thank you for your support that has got us to this point to provide the economic development and the jobs, in the area. And we appreciate your potential attendance with our session in December. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll answer any questions if you have any.
Anybody have any questions for Mark? If not, thank you, Mark. Is there any other business come before the committee? If not,
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
the gentleman moves we adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, stay here.